Alright, so this is the video they asked for. Sorry, I got a lot of power cords just kind of getting wet, so I'm trying to hurry, but yeah, it's leaking from like right here somewhere. Whenever I touch this, it's coming out, so I'm gonna try and get the tank empty before it's too late. But if you guys need more information, let me know. I just wiped it up. I think it's coming through right here. Yep. All right, everyone. So as you can see, the tank is doing fine. I just had a little issue, and I'm going to go over that in a second, but I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for everyone who's subscribing. We went from 66 to about 94. We are really close to getting 100, only a couple away. So if you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you do. And let's get into the video a little bit. So we had a leak, but thankfully it was not the tank. It was actually my skimmer, and I ended up having to get a new one because it just completely fell apart. But I do want to just kind of go over what happened real quick. And you can see the video, you know, there's a leak. It kind of got into the cabinet and it was getting all over my cords. I was kind of in a panic mode trying to get the fish into these buckets over here and, you know, set up everything from scratch because, you know, I had to warm the water and everything. It was just super hectic, but basically what ended up happening was I called Innovative Marine, and then they asked me to take a video of the serial number and where the leak was coming from. So I did that, as you can see earlier. And when I was going over it with them, they're like, hey, do you have anything above it? I said, yeah, but, you know, everything is fine. The refugium's fine. This is fine. And so we kind of kept going into the process. They're going to send me one right away. Thankfully, I'm in California, and they're in California too. So they said they get me one right away. And then they were telling me, you know, hey, we're going to send you a new one. You don't have to send this one back. You just have to, you know, write void on the tank and with some kind of object. And so before I got into, thankfully, because you know, I didn't want to do that to my tank, and it wasn't even necessary. But thankfully, I started to take apart, you know, the lights. And when I took off that first light, okay, it was good. I took off the skimmer, and the whole skimmer just fell apart. I didn't get a video on that or a picture on that, and I really should have, but I ended up just getting a new one from BRS, and I already got that one good and running, and that one's working great. But it was about 5 years old, that other one, so that's what ended up happening. Was it was just so old that I guess one of the seams had fallen apart. So immediately I called Innovative Marine back, and I was like, hey guys, that was my fault. It was a mistake. It's actually not leaking. It's just a skimmer, and now I have water all over the place, so I got to take care of that. And I could even hear a sigh of relief from the people on the phone, the customer support. They're like, oh, thank gosh, you know, we thought it was a tank. I said, yeah, me too. And I was sweating big time, and, you know, so were they, because apparently this doesn't happen too much. And so that's really good to hear. But I just wanted to give you guys my experience and what happened, and kind of let, you know, play it out for you so you guys can see too, like, oh, wow, you know, this is a pretty awesome company for them to not even question really, you know, what's going on, and they're already going to send me a new one. Obviously, there's things that go along with that. You know, you can't just call and get a brand new tank for no reason, but as you can see, I had a leak from somewhere. It's just, it wasn't from the tank directly. So got that taken care of, and thankfully it wasn't anything serious. You know, the skimmer is so much easier to replace than the tank. I was so nervous I was going to have to get all these fish out of here and keep them warm in trash cans until the new one came. So we took care of that, and that was good. But I also want to say, you know, today is Christmas, so if you guys do celebrate that, Merry Christmas, and thanks for stopping by if you guys get into it before this gets older. But yeah, so this is what's going on. Unfortunately, I had planned to make a video on dinos, because if you guys remember, sorry, let me get you a little bit better view. Okay, if you guys remember, in the last video, whoops, sorry, camera difficulties, jeez. Okay, sorry about that. In the last video, I was talking about how I have live rock, and it's going to be this one right here that I added from another tank, right? When I added this, I knew that tank was up for years, and the person who had the tank before did have some dinos, some pretty bad algae problems, but it wasn't something super crazy. This tank is almost too clean because of the algae, you know, just getting eaten up by all these snails and the tangs, and I'm feeding the tangs algae on this clip all day. It's already gone, you know. I have a bunch of pods that I've added, a bunch of different species, and man, they're just kind of taking off cleaning this tank. So inevitably, because I got the tank so clean and the nutrients were so low, almost unreadable, that's not necessarily a good thing. And so I want to give you guys an insight onto what happened. And I really wanted to make a video of what happened because of it. And it had a dino explosion. If you don't know what dinos are, I believe they're pronounced dinoflagellates. I could be butchering that, but something around that area. If you look them up on YouTube, they're super easy to kind of diagnose, but it looks like bubbles and snot, not anything really close to algae, but you have these long lines. And I am so surprised to tell you guys this, but in just a couple days, it really just went away. And I'm going to get into kind of step by step what I did and what happened. But yeah, they're pretty much gone. I want to see if I can get an angle where I didn't. Yeah, I mean, I can't really even find anywhere. They were basically only on the rocks. As you guys see before, we did have some diatoms on the bottom, which are not dinos. So please don't mistake those. And, you know, they're definitely a lot worse to deal with. But diatoms are completely gone, and the dinos are basically completely gone. You might be able to see some spots on the rock. It'd be like kind of right there. Maybe right there you can see some. But it was super stringy, and I just immediately was like, oh man, okay, we have diatoms, so what are we going to do? And what I did was I immediately turned off the lights. Why? Because, and these guys are pretty upset, but they're getting fixed. I got these from actually a subscriber and a local reefer. This little toadstool right here, there's another one over there. The snails like to knock them over at night, so I always got to pick them up. I need to just glue them. I had one glued completely down here, and then it just ended up getting knocked out from either a snail or a crab or a shrimp, something. Just knocked it off that frag disc. So I'm going to have to super glue that. But the point is, I don't have a lot of coral, so it's actually perfectly fine for me to kind of do a little blackout. I thought this blackout was going to be 6, maybe 8 days max. But just after 2 days, the dinos are completely gone. And I think the most unfortunate part about this whole thing is that I can't show you guys how bad it was. But I will explain what I did, and, you know, I guess you guys can just kind of take it with a grain of salt on how bad it was and you know, me actually fixing the problem. But this is what I want to say about it to start. Number one, when I introduced this rock right here and that rock right there, they had live bacteria on it. They had life. They were in a tank for over 3 years. They've got sponges. They've got little critters inside of it as far as pods, obviously. But I'm talking about they got little, what are they called? Starfish, basically. That's the best way to explain it. They got like little starfish in there, brittle stars. Just full of life. And so that's why I added them to the tank. But again, when you do things like that, you have to expect that whatever algae problem was in that tank is going to be in your tank. Whatever diatom problem, whatever cyano, whatever problem was in that tank before, you are taking on those problems, which is why people say to start clean. But needless to say, I had a bunch of cleanup crew, and it completely cleaned up the whole tank, and it got it so good that you know, we just had a clean slate for something else to take over. And so once that took over, that's when the diatoms came in. And when the diatoms came in, you know, I kind of did a little bit of research. I've dealt with them before, but not this heavy because there wasn't such a clean tank for them to take over. So, like I said, number one, I turned off the lights because it didn't have coral. And if you are going to do the tank this way and maybe follow along, I will make a beginner series for sure. But if you're doing exactly what's happening here with me by taking rock from someone else's tank, I would suggest you get some softies. You know, by softies, I mean like these leathers and maybe some mushrooms or zoas, right? And when you do that, I would suggest that you're aware and you have it in your head, hey, I might have to do a blackout because of the live rock that I've got, you know. And there is also other ways to do this approach. UV sterilizer, I did purchase one, and I guess I'm not even going to need it. I might send it back, I might just keep it, but no matter what, I am going to do a product review on it so you guys can see. So yeah, this was all in the works, and somehow in a span of just a couple days, I got dinos, and in a span of a couple days, they're gone. So great news for me, but unfortunate for the video, and so I am sorry about that, and I'll try to be more on top of it as far as like capturing what's going on with the skimmer, how it was broken, and how the dinos were just so out of control. But yeah, so let me kind of move backwards a little bit, and step 1, turn off the lights, right? And hopefully you can do that, and I would suggest not to get corals right away to be able to do that, because the fish don't need it. Step 2, I started dosing this a little bit heavier. I always put in, sorry, let me move you real quick. I'm gonna grab this. Okay, so I bought this big old one from BRS, and I suggest maybe doing the same regardless of your tank size, especially starting one, right? So I got the XLM, and that's what I started with, but then I've been using this Microbacter 7 all the time. And I just use this little shot glass over here. I just use, I don't know, maybe a quarter of it, put it in once at night, turn off the pumps for a little bit in the day or nighttime whenever I dose it, and then just put it in there. I don't even add it in water beforehand. But because this started happening with dinos, I immediately was like, you know what, let me take some action. Let me put this Microbacter, let me put a little bit more, not overdose, not go crazy, but put, you know, exactly what it says, because I was technically underdosing before. So with that being said, I would say the biggest contribution to dinos is obviously number 1, lights, because that's where the food is coming from. That's what they're, you know, they're photosynthetic. So that's what they're eating. Number 2, they're losing the battle of, you know, warfare on all this clean slate by Microbacter having that bacteria kind of fill all the rocks and fill all the crevices of, you know, just warfare or land, basically, for the Bacter 7 to live, as opposed to the dinos. So that was step 2, was the Microbacter. My plan was to go step 3 even further and install a UV sterilizer, because of the type of dinos that I had. They were that long, stringy, going up and down vertically, and they had bubbles all over it. You know, it was just a bunch of evidence that I had seen on YouTube, the UV sterilizers working, especially with the faster flow. So whenever that comes in, I think it's going to be next year. You know, we're December 25th, so next year being a couple days, it's going to come in, and we will do a review, like I said, and I might install it, I might not. I don't want to do UV if I don't have to. So with that being said, that was my plan, my approach. Lights, that's going to be your best bet. 2, Microbacter 7, and then 3, UV sterilizer. Once it's completely good and done, the last thing I'm going to do is vibrant. I had seen that even all of those other steps were not helping other people, or they couldn't turn off the lights because of them having coral in the tank already. They've had the tank set up for years, and all of a sudden they get dinos. So something big other than the sterilizer that I seen was vibrant, and somehow that's helping. I don't have any evidence of that myself. I've seen a couple accounts on YouTube where that does help, but I did buy some, so I will probably dose that, you know, once it comes in as well in a couple days. So look forward to that. I'll probably do a product review on that too. But I just want to give you guys a big update and say thank you so much for subscribing and all the comments and the likes. I really appreciate that. We're really starting to kind of take off, and I want to see how far we can go with this. So I will keep up the fish content, and, you know, I'll always be live streaming, you know, whenever I'm playing the game or anything. And I don't want you guys to be scared or nervous to come over and talk to me about fish stuff, because that's what I want. That's kind of channel that I have. You know, this is more of a lifestyle channel, as opposed to, you know, focused on one thing. You know, hey, I'm the fish guy and I do fish stuff, or I'm the game guy and I play the games. I have a life. I do a lot of different things, fish, games, fitness, and I even do auto detailing as well for now as like a career. So if you guys have any questions on any of those things, feel free to ask, and I'm not gonna, you know, separate these things. I know that that could happen as far as content, but I don't personally want to. I want to keep everything together. So I know that's a lot, but this is the update for now. There's one more thing that I kind of seen as I was looking at this, and I'm sure you guys might see it too. So we have light number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. These lights have diffusers on there, and these lights don't. And the reason for that is because I bought them off of Etsy, which maybe that's not the best place to buy stuff. It was 3D printed, so I don't really know where else to get the best 3D printed stuff, but I figured that was a good spot. And I'll kind of get into it right now. So I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let's see. You see how these two are kind of crooked? They're kind of slanted to the left. And then you see how this one's just straight? Well, the reason for that, from what I've seen, is they are in a box basically, and that box is what I wanted for sure, to cover up the bulb and not have any kind of salt spray or anything, salt creep, anything getting onto the light and messing it up. However, because it's enclosed like that, it does get kind of hot. And what's happening is the two boxes that are right there, same thing happened over here on those two that don't have one, they fell off. And it's because it got so hot that they just kind of warped or melted maybe, but I don't think they melted at all, just because, you know, there wasn't any plastic or burning smell or anything like that. I think they just expand because of the heat. And the problem is the kind of filament or the kind of material that the person used to create it. So I contacted that person on Etsy and said, hey, you know, I had this problem, and I'm going to give, you know, the full rundown of what happened, and I'm not going to hold anything back because, you know, I'm not trying to slander, like, I'm not trying to hate on anyone, but I am trying to give the truth and an honest situation of what happened. So number one, I bought the product. Then the product started to kind of fail on me. So I let them know, hey, I'm having this problem. And then immediately their response was, oh, yep, I've become aware of that problem, and I'm going to send you a new one. I haven't received it yet, but then we have to keep in mind that the holidays are going on. So, you know, there's no shipping going, and, you know, just a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm going to be very mindful of that, and I'm not going to talk about, you know, the fact that I haven't got new ones yet. But I do want to mention this, is that the person who sold these to me was aware of that being a problem. And in my opinion, I kind of feel like, how do I say this? The best way I want to say it is, like, I don't feel like I was cheated, but I feel like there was something going on to where if you knew that this was a problem, maybe you should have sent me the other material from the beginning. I feel like maybe these were on discount. They were 25% off because you're trying to offload the bad product, hoping that nothing went wrong, like this one. This one's perfect. But the other four, you know, these two are okay, I guess. You know, I'd rather not have crooked ones, right? But these two are completely failed. They fell off, and thankfully I have a net, you know, and they just fell on top of the net. But regardless, I feel like, you know, maybe I was kind of not done wrong completely, but I do feel like there was some kind of ill will, maybe. But that's just my opinion. We'll see if they fix it. I think if they fix it personally, regardless of the whole situation, the fact that they're going to send me them out for free, I haven't been charged, and, you know, they're going to replace them, I think that would actually fix it, and it would feel fair to me. But yeah, I just want to give you guys a heads up, and then I don't want to recommend anything of like where to get it, or, you know, if you should get it, until the problem gets solved. So just, excuse me, keep an eye out for that. I will definitely give an update, and you will see it, obviously, because, you know, there's two missing. But yeah, that's the update for now. And then one more thing I want to mention is that I did buy some nudibranch. I don't want to pronounce that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. And what I bought was 3 of them from Top Sale or Top Aquatic, something like that. I'll have to show you guys later where I got it from. But once they come in, I'll do a whole separate review on the website, what I got and what it looks like. But I'm going to show you guys why I did that. So one second. Okay, we're back. And basically what I want to show you guys was this right here. You see this Aptasia? Humongous. And let me see. There's a couple more. I'm trying to find the best ones that you can see with this lighting. Oh man, it's kind of hard. Yeah, they're just kind of mixed in here basically. There's one more right here, right there. It's kind of hard to see. There's the foot right there. But basically it's kind of taken over this. Oh, you can see one right here actually. Look at that. Sheesh. But the point is, it's kind of taken over the tank. Not the tank, but the refugium, sorry. It's taken over the refugium to where it's causing a problem for me. Thankfully, it's not spreading into the tank yet. I have peppermint shrimp in the main display. So I feel like those would take care of that if any start to grow or anything like that. But what I'm going to do is put these nudibranchs that are Aptasia eating nudibranch, and they're going to eat these guys. And I'm going to film that and kind of get a whole, just a whole video and a whole capture of what I bought, does it work, and, you know, is it worth it? So I will definitely have that out. Comment down below if you have Aptasia, if you've had it, and if you guys have dealt with it in any ways like this. So I'm seeing this is kind of not brand new, but newer to me. I've never really seen people getting these nudibranchs to eat this personally. I've seen a couple videos, but this is kind of newer to me. So I'm excited to get those in and see them kind of devour this Aptasia from what everyone's saying. And the reason I bought 3 was because of a video on the website explaining that, you know, they breed and they like to attack these. They're kind of like a wolf pack where they attack these, you know, as a pack. So that's the reason why I got that. I did get a new skimmer that's one thing I wanted to say. So this is the new one, and it's already just working. These things are workhorses. If you don't mind having something hanging on the back, you know, it's kind of bulky, it looks kind of big. I've seen someone commenting that it looks like a Toys R Us kind of theme colored toy. It's pretty big. But if you don't mind the size, like I don't, and you don't mind it hanging on the back, man, this thing is a workhorse, brand new, and it's already just picking up so much stuff, but it is off. And the reason for that, that I did not mention before, but I did want to kind of get in there, was I turned off my skimmer because their nutrients were so low. And I want you guys to be aware of that if you're ever dealing with, look at these guys right here. They're all moving. That is crazy to see. But if you guys are ever dealing with the diatoms, I do want you to be aware that maybe turning off your skimmer would be a good bet, and maybe doing an initial water change, but not doing constant water changes to try and get rid of that problem, because you're just slowly taking down your nutrients. And, you know, the less nutrients that are in the water, the more they're going to be able to take over. So, because the algae and other things can't grow. But the point is, I turned off my skimmer, and I'll probably be turning that one back on maybe in like a couple days once I'm done dosing the microbacter. And I don't think I'll truly ever be done dosing the microbacter with how much I have. It'll just be more and more, how do I say it? It'll just be more and more added over time. You know, it's not going to be a big old dose, but it will be just a little bit, just a, you know, couple milliliters a day, and I'll do it at night, turn the pumps down for a while, and we'll go from there. But yeah, I also got some bigger amphipods from that website. So look at these guys right here. I don't know if you can see this. One second. I'm going to try and zoom in. Look at this dude. Really cool. So I got some giant amphipods as well to put in here to just kind of cope. But I don't know if you guys noticed, I did not personally trim this Chaeto, or Chaeto, however you want to say it. I didn't trim this. What I did was I put some giant snails in there, and they just went to town. So that was really cool, and I think that's going to be my method from now on, just a full circle of life. We got the pods, we got the, you know, the Chaeto, and we got the phytoplankton that I'm putting in here. And then we also, once it gets too big and it's grown out, then instead of me pulling it out, you know, unnaturally, I'll just put a snail in there too, let them chow it down the way they have. It's gotten to a small amount now, and then we'll, you know, let it regrow. And once it regrows, I'll just do rinse and repeat, the same thing. So that was pretty cool, and I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that too. But overall, that's just the update. Let me bring you back to the front of the tank. Okay, so we're back to the front, and as you can see, this toadstool is doing fine. It's a Japanese toadstool, I believe. That's what one of the subscribers had reached out to me and got. I actually let him borrow my par meter, so I'll probably be getting that back later. I don't really need it right now, being the fact that I have 1, 2, 3 little corals. That's it. So I don't really need it yet. I will do a whole video on that, you know, just kind of a review, how I used it, you know, what you would use it for, and is it worth it. So that's going to be a whole separate video. So let me know in the comments if you want to see something like that. I have never used a par meter before personally, and I've had tanks for over 10 years, so it's definitely long overdue, and it'll be nice to have for maybe not the rest of my life, but at least the next like 5-10 years maybe. Hopefully it lasts that long. But to have that and be able to check the par everywhere at any point in time is going to be cool for me, and I think it's worth the money, especially on a Black Friday sale. I think it's worth the money personally to be able to check, you know, hey, this coral's not doing too good. Does it need more light? Does it need less? Should I raise it? Should I lower it? Well, takes a lot of guessing game out to just put that little par meter right next to, or even where the coral is, and know that this is the par that coral is personally getting. So that's going to be pretty cool. We have a couple corals now, so that's awesome. What else do we have going on? I think that's pretty much it, and that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy New Year's. Thank you so much for all the support. And if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, I'll be live streaming. Like I said, don't be scared to get on there and just kind of chat. It doesn't have to be about the game at all. It could be about tanks. It could be about fitness. It really doesn't matter. But I appreciate everyone and all the interaction, because it's been really cool to kind of start this channel, you know, just a couple of months, or just a month ago really, and grow this much. So thank you guys so much for that, and I'll see you guys in the next one.